As Teresa said, my name is Felicia Morley, and technically my title is Instructional Designer, Blackboard Certified Trainer, and Technology Coordinator for the Department of Distance Learning. Basically that means I do all things Blackboard and all things technology. So I've been here almost 8 years, and I've been working with Teresa in this UE 100 class for 4 years now. And I've been teaching UE 100 for 4 or 5 years. I started off teaching face-to-face, but now I only teach internet sections. So how many of you have taken it online? A couple of you. Did I? I had you. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. All right. Online's a little bit different animal than face-to-face, so what we're going to talk about is face-to-face, because I usually don't have a course assistant in an online class. So the Blackboard shell, all of you are familiar with Blackboard, but you're familiar with it from the student perspective. What you're going to get to learn about and see over the course of this 8 weeks is what it looks like from the instructor side. The tools and things that you'll need to grade or post announcements, things of that nature. And there is no way I expect you to remember any of this after this last hour, especially since you've been here since 8 this morning. So basically what I'm going to do is kind of give you an overview of what you're going to learn through the next 8 weeks. And like Teresa mentioned, we're going to have a practice course. And in that practice course, I've placed some Harry Potter students. And so you'll get opportunities to post announcements in that course, to grade assignments, to play around with the grade book, so that you'll be familiar with all of these things before you get ready to teach in the fall. Now, how much Blackboard responsibility you will have depends on who you get as a teacher. There are some teachers that they may want you to focus mostly on what's going on in class, and they will take care of all the Blackboard side. And then you may have some staff who are acting as faculty who are less familiar with Blackboard and may rely on you more for the technology. So it just depends on who you get. But we want to make sure you're well prepared. Okay? All right, so what you're looking at up here is a basic Blackboard. This is what I call a shell course. And this is where I create the content that actually goes into the live courses. And as you can see, this one is a Tuesday-Thursday course, as indicated up here. And the very first section that always pops up for the instructors and for you is the announcements section. Now, announcements in an online course are critical because that's our first mode of communication with students. In a face-to-face course, your first line of communication is what? Face-to-face, yeah. When might you use the announcement section, though? To remind them of homework that's due, yeah. School cancellations or class cancellations or alternate locations. This year when they do the pods, in the spring the pod presenters come to the class because they're small numbers. In the fall they all meet in Phelps. So you may post an announcement to remind them that tomorrow's the financial aid pod. Remember to go up to Phelps and remember to bring your ID, those kind of things. So creating an announcement is actually very easy. The first thing that you have to make sure you do is, see this edit mode up here in the corner? Way up here. You got to make sure that's turned on. Because if that's not turned on, you can't do anything. But if it's on, all you have to do is come out here and click this button that says Create Announcement. Then you're going to give your announcement a header. And then you see you've got the toolbar here that looks an awful lot like a Word document. And basically all you're going to do is type in your announcement. And then you've got a choice of either sending it immediately or making it date restricted. Now, you cannot do both. If you put send immediately, but then put a date restriction on there, like it's not going to be available till next Wednesday, all the students are going to get a blank email and it's going to drive them batty. So either send immediately or date restricted. Date restricted is kind of fun if you want to go in there and set up all those announcements ahead of time for the pods. You know, as soon as you get into, I'm trying to think when courses are created for fall sometime in July. I usually get you guys in there around the 1st of August, give or take. You could actually go in and create your announcements ahead of time for things like the pod dates, because you'll have all that already. And then what you'll do is just put in a set of display after and display until dates. So display after, you could set it for 24 hours prior to the pod date, or 48 hours, or whatever you decide you want to do. When you're done with all of that, you would just hit submit. Now, do not think you have to remember this. This is going to be one of those assignments that you're going to work on in this practice course site that we're going to set up for you. Another section that is used a lot is the course home area. This is where the syllabus is going to go. Hopefully your faculty member will upload a syllabus, but if they don't, they may ask you to. In which case, all you have to do is come and hit this little down arrow and overwrite the file, browse, and go upload a syllabus. Again, this is something that you'll get to practice. And then the rest of this stuff is just information that needs to be in all the courses. The Meet Your Instructor area. This is one of the tools that's used the least by faculty, but probably has the most impact, and I'll tell you why. It's because courses go live the Saturday before the semester starts. So you will have your Type A, how many of you were Type A students? Okay, how many of you were in there poking around before classes actually started trying to see what you could see? Yeah. So this is where the instructor can put in a bio, telling them a little bit about them, what they do. You guys can put bios in there as well. Put pictures in there. This is an assignment you'll get to practice. But that gives that student something to look at on Saturday or Sunday before classes start on Monday or Tuesday or wherever. Social media. Already comes populated with the first year experience Facebook link. You can also add a link depending on what social media you decide you want to use in class. In the past, it has always been Facebook, and I keep teasing Teresa saying, they're not using Facebook like we are at our age. Facebook has become for old people. So if you want to use Twitter, if you want to use, TikTok, yeah, any of them. Snapchat, Tumblr, what's the other one that everybody uses? Meet Me, Group Me, yeah, whichever one it is. You can post a link to it or information on how the students can go connect. Discussion boards. Discussion boards are heavily used in the online classes, but we've never really used them in face-to-face classes. This year, Teresa and I have talked about teaching you guys how to use the discussion boards and giving the students a place to ask you questions after hours. Because now that we're down to a 1 hour, 8-week class, you only see them once a week. So what happens if you see them on Monday, or twice a week, sorry. What happens if you see them on Monday or Wednesday, but come Friday, they have a question? Are they going to have to wait till the very next week to ask a question? Well, they can ask it in the discussion board. And we've always had this Ask Your Instructor discussion board in here, which is where people can ask questions. But we've never taught the course assistants how to respond and how to use that. So that's one of the things you're going to learn this year. One of the first things that you'll discover is that there's a subscribe button in here. And if you hit that subscribe button, it's going to email you every time a student has a question and posts it in here so that you can go back to the discussion board and answer it. Again, this is something that you're going to learn throughout the next 8 weeks. Let's see, Rorys guide. How many of you had to buy a Rorys guide? A few of you, yeah. Rorys guide is now open resource, which means that we have created a PDF, put it online, and students no longer have to pay for it. This is in response to the campus initiative to try and lower costs for students. I'm part of an OER task force, and we're looking at all the classes on campus trying to figure out ways where we can go to either free or university-provided materials so that you don't have to spend as much on textbooks, because textbooks are freaking expensive. And if you ever take a graduate course, believe me, you'll find out how expensive they are. Okay, and then we have our weeks 1 through 8. And this is going to look a lot like what many of you have seen. I'll have updated the agenda. All of the items will be in here. Classroom content. This is going to look a little different for you because I don't have classroom content and this week's assignments in an online. I just have it all out there. But classroom content would be anything that you need to be able to teach the class. Do you have to use it? No. You can create your own. But I give it to you so that, if you want to use it or expand upon it, whatever, it's all up to you. So there are PowerPoints in there for all the Rorys Guide sections. If there's a video they're required to watch, it's in there. If there's a link to something on the campus, it's in there. So that you can use Blackboard to make your lesson plans and make teaching easier. Okay? Then if we go back one, all the assignments that the students have to do for the week are in this folder. And for every class, I provide them information with videos. How to submit an assignment in Blackboard and how to download Microsoft Office. Those are the two biggest problems that all UE 100 students face. Every semester we will have 1 to 2 students per class who try to submit a document in a .pages format. Can somebody tell me why that's a problem? .pages is an Apple product. So if you have an iPhone, which a lot of students do, they'll try and do their homework on an iPhone and then submit it. Blackboard can't read it. If Blackboard can't read it, your instructor can't see it, and if they can't see it, they can't grade it. So every student on campus is provided a free copy of Office 365 for that reason, so that they can go out and they can use Word, Excel, whatever they might need for their class. There is a tech tutorial that all my online students go through the very first week that explains this. I still, about 4 or 5 weeks in, will have students trying to submit things in .pages. So if you ever see something that pops up to be graded and it says .pages and you can't see anything, that's why. You'll need to go back and reinforce with the student that they need to go out and download their free copy of Office and that they need to submit in Office. And along those lines, all assignments, they have at least 2 attempts to try. Some of them are unlimited because a lot of what we want the students to learn is how to use Blackboard as well as the content. So we don't want them to get, penalized because they're still trying to figure Blackboard out. Okay, so the other one, how to submit an assignment in Blackboard. Again, you'll get those students about halfway through that haven't submitted a thing, and if you go talk to them, you'll find out that they're not quite sure how to do it. And we've run into that so much that we've actually added a Blackboard pod this fall. So I'll be teaching a pod for Blackboard and showing the students exactly how to upload it. Now in the spring we did it in a computer lab and they actually got to play around with it and it was awesome. But we can't do that in the fall because there's just too many students. We don't have a computer lab that'll hold 200 students at once. So we're going to try this and see how it works with me showing them. And then hopefully you guys will be able to reinforce that the first week or 2 when they have assignments. Okay? So weeks 1 through 8, everything's there. Co-curricular assignments are in their own spot because those are one of those assignments that students do throughout the entire 8 weeks, as all of you are familiar with. You didn't have to do co-curricular because I don't make my online students do co-curricular. It's not really fair if I have true distance students, and I've had students as far away as Hawaii before that are in my class. So there's no way they're coming to campus for a football game to be able to, participate in this. And then the mental wellness, the ETOK, ECHUG, all of that Faustina just talked about is in its own separate section. Okay. Now, what you don't see as a student is this area down here called course management. As a teaching assistant, which is what your title is in Blackboard, you will be able to see this section. This control panel just expands and collapses it. This first section, the content collection, this is the file structure behind the course. This is where all the documents are housed, all the images, any videos that I would upload that aren't on a server. And basically it's kind of like Windows Explorer in your computer. If you were looking for a document, you'd go there and look for it. Other sections include the course tools area. And there's just additional links to be able to get things. This attendance tool, we're still tweaking. It's not working quite right. So what I've been doing is putting an attendance column in all of the courses. And then you guys would still need to keep attendance on paper for now. Now we've heard with this latest update, the attendance tool has been fixed. So hopefully before fall, maybe even before the end of the semester, I'll get a chance to play with it and see if it actually works. And if it does, we'll have an attendance taking tool for you in Blackboard. That would be awesome. Other things in here that you might need, just a second way to get to discussion boards. To get some of the rubrics, if you want to take a look at the rubric for instance, the rubric for, I'm trying to think of some of the rubrics that we use anymore. I use rubrics in online a lot, but now that we've taken the pods to a face-to-face quiz, I don't think you guys have to use rubrics. I'll go back and look at that. And then there's some other stuff in here. If you want to send an email to any student in the course or everybody in the course, there's ways to send email directly from. The section that you will probably get to know the most is way down here, and it is called the Grade Center. And the first link is the needs grading. And when you click this, anything that would need grading is going to pop up there. Now, some of the quizzes are graded automatically in Blackboard, so you won't have to worry about those unless your instructor decides to take late assignments. If they decide to take late assignments, Blackboard automatically puts it in the needs grading so that the instructor can adjust the point total if needed. For instance, in my online classes, I give them an amnesty week towards the end where they can go back and make up missed assignments for partial points. So I have it set so that it pops up here so that even the tests and the quizzes, I go back and like take 20% off because it was late. Everybody follow me? Yeah. This may or may not be something that you have to worry about. It just depends on the instructor's personal policy when you get to work with them. So. But once you grade the other section, the full grade center, this is what it looks like. And it's basically an Excel spreadsheet. How many of you use Excel at all? Excellent. Okay. Those of you that are used to Excel probably will be able to adjust to this quite easily. And what you'll get is a list of last names, first names, and then if you move this little line across here, there's all the assignments. Kind of hard to see it because there's so many assignments in this course, but there's a way to actually go in under Manage, Column Organization, and then you can see by week a list of all the assignments. Again, this is all something that you're going to get to play around with in this practice course. You're going to get to practice grading. You'll get to practice, seeing how the grade book functions. We're going to teach you how to manually input a grade because those that library quiz and those pod quizzes that are hand graded now, those have to be put in manually, so that's something that you'll get to learn. We'll teach you how to remove a grade if a grade is put in by error, and that does happen. Teresa gave somebody 500 points for one assignment this semester, so it does happen. So you need to know how to take that out and how to correct it. So these are things that you're all going to learn throughout this next 8 weeks. And I know I've thrown a lot at you, but any questions so far? Anything that you want to know how to do, or you've seen your instructor do that you think, how did they do that? No? Everybody's just brain dead and ready to go home? Yeah. It's a beautiful day out and you're forced in here to sit and look at it? Okay, so you will see some tutorials and things pop up in your class, and when I reference the practice course, there will be a list in your course sites, but instead of showing it as an instructor, it's going to show you as a teaching assistant, and I'll get that loaded this next week. And then you'll be able to start using it for various assignments. You don't have an assignment for it the first week. She's got something else planned for you. But as the weeks go on, you will be able to use that practice section. Now, do not feel like you have to get it on the first take. I will have everything set up so that you guys can have multiple attempts at it and practice. And if you want more than I have set up, come let me know. Or come in and find me and we can go over stuff. I'm in Webster Hall. I'm on the first floor in 109. If you come in the building, you know where the big lion statue is? My office is just kind of catty corner from there. So, and I'm there almost all the time. We can sit down and go over anything you want, or I can open it up and give you more attempts. You know, if there's something else that you're just not quite comfortable with, I'll be glad to sit down and go over any of it with you. The great part about this, Blackboard has become such a component of education on our campus that as students, you guys are so familiar with it that I've noticed over the years, I have to give less and less instructions to students because since you've experienced as a student, the faculty side of it kind of becomes intuitive. So I'm not too worried about any of you. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, I look forward to working with all of you over this next 8 weeks, and we'll get you ready.